Analyze the contact. Never accept that your horse runs through the rein and pushes the hind legs out. What you're doing with the bending aid is much better. Diagonal, control, that's okay. Control this idea of riding a deeper rounder. Even when you go long and low, even when I ride a 4-year-old horse, there's a certain amount of self-carriage. Naturally, the horse will be a touch more on the forehand, there's no doubt. But there's absolutely no reason for the horse to grab the bit, especially not the double bridle. Yeah? Little right flexion. Good. Send him forward. Good. And once more on the circle. And listen a moment, when you go circle, when you cross the center line, sitting trot, and tap him behind. Forward, rising trot, sitting trot, bring it back quickly. So, and rising trot, that's a half volt. It's very obvious, but it's effective. You know what I mean? Yeah. Get things done. Yeah? There you go. Now you're riding much more effectively. Yeah? Good. And back to the, perfect, and back to the walk. So, and soon you don't even have to do it this obvious. You follow me? Yeah? And listen, you're a very pretty rider. Be effective. Yeah? And go in the ring, and then, and how old are you? Sorry? 15? Yeah. You know, and then when you ride this pretty and very effectively, you're going to have a wonderful young rider's horse. Yeah? And probably not a horse that's just a competitor, a horse that can do some damage there. Yeah? But be effective and analyze every single step if your horse is truly carrying himself. He will do all the movements, even when he's not carrying himself. But then it is just a schoolmaster. And you can make him a very competitive horse. Yeah? Very good. That was effective. Good job. Good job.
Thank you, Nicole and Katie. We appreciate you coming. So, are you all sensing a theme now that starting with the first horses all the way now through 4th level, it wasn't, oh, let's go do more movements at 4th level. It was, oh, we have a little problem here with the straightness and the suppleness and the line of travel with Dancing Queen, a little bit the self-carriage with the other one. So it's not about practicing movement that's going to make your score better in the show ring. All right, it's about maintaining your basics, maintaining your communication, being more effective as a rider, and knowing what to do. I have a couple of questions to answer. This one, Lisa's collecting more. This one, it's a question about training level 1. Some rider made an early transition and the judge gave them a 1, and was that fair, and all those things. Well, I don't think that it's my place to tell someone that their judging was wrong and they shouldn't have done that when I wasn't there and I didn't see the test, and that's not my job. I can tell you that pretty much that using the scale, a 0, which means not performed, it's, in my opinion, almost impossible to get at 4th level and down, unless you're doing a freestyle. Now, if you do a freestyle and you forget one of the movements, then you have a 0. But for me, even if you do, I had a test. I can comment on this test because I did judge it, and this is a true story. In a very large state in our country, and it was sort of a carriage type horse that they don't like. They're kind of lazy anyway. And it was training level test 1, and the girl came in and she halted, she saluted, and the horse's head was straight up in the air. And she went around at trot, and so she was doing sort of the movements at trot, but with the head straight up. So she was still getting, you know, mostly 4s and 5s. Well, then she asked for the horse to canter, and the horse just kept trotting. And so she put the reins in one hand, took the whip, and did a few of these over and under things. Whack, 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 and the horse still said, no, I don't think so. So he ends up trotting the canter circle. He never did canter. And so there was no transition, and then on and on. It never cantered in the whole test. So I progressively went lower and lower, and I never gave her a 0, but on the trot circle, I gave her a 1, because she did do the circle, even though it was in the wrong gait. And then the transition from canter to trot, she did have half of it, she did have the trot, but no transition, so that was a 2 or a 3. So, you know, I think if your horse made a transition a little bit earlier, it's not your idea, then probably a 4 or 5 is mean enough. We don't like discussing what makes up a 3, 2, a 1, and a 0, because hopefully we don't have to give those scores. But in our judges' exams, we do talk about them because you do have to be fair. If someone took the wrong lead once, you can give it a 4. If they took a wrong lead twice, a 3. If they never get the correct lead and that's happened too. Doing all the training level 1 canter work right on the wrong lead, having no clue. You know, so whatever you think, you say, oh, that couldn't happen, believe me, it did, okay? And for another judge to comment on another judge's judging is really not very ethical. I mean, we can say what we can talk about with Risa. If I judge a test in Florida and she videos it and the rider signs a release and says, okay, we can put this out on the internet and Janet can talk about judging my test, fine. If they signed a release and said, okay, now this judge over here is going to comment on the test and criticize Janet's judging at the same time, that's a bit of a problem. So I think you can understand where we're coming from there, okay?